gonna be not a rant, but it's gonna be more of a positive video, not me talking about negative stuff, but it's gonna be a rant about my favorite fucking TV shows. I'm just gonna give you a list of them, maybe talk a little bit about them. You know, I've always kind of wanted to do a video about this, but I'm doing it finally now. I was gonna do a rant tonight, but I just can't talk well. I can't even talk well, but yeah. The first fucking show that I fucking love, and they're in no order either. They're just no order, just a list. First show is The Middle. You know The Middle. Oh my god, that show is fucking awesome and funny. I first saw it in 2010, and then I haven't watched it again till 2013, like last September, October. I started watching that show again, and that show's fucking awesome. There's a lot of funny things on that show. Like, I'm gonna tell you this one funny episode when fucking Frankie, she's like sitting on the couch and shit. She wants to watch her TV show. Like, I don't know. She wants to watch her TV show, and then she eats a bag of chips or something, and then she eats it, and it turns out to be Axel's toenails. That's a big Axel's toenails, and then Sue, she comes in the fucking room and she's like, "Oh my god, Mom, you just ate Axel's toenails." And then Frankie's like, she goes crazy and she tries anything to fucking get the fucking toenails out of her. She just ate Axel's toenails and shit, and then she goes crazy, and then she's like, she goes into the fucking sink. And then she drinks soap. And then fucking she gets a sponge and then wipes her tongue. Like, what the fuck? She goes so crazy and shit. Like, oh my god, that part fucking was hilarious. That part made me laugh so hard. Like, why'd you do that? You could have just brushed your teeth. Why didn't you just brush your teeth? That would have helped. But instead of brushing your teeth, she just drinks dish soap. She just like gets dish soap and drinks it. Like, what the hell? That part was so funny. And then and then later, and then she ended up missing out on that one part of the TV show that she watched, and then she ends up leaving the family for a while and steals Axel's hat, and then Axel didn't even give a fuck that his mom left. He just cared for the hat. That was a fucking awesome episode. And it's funny when Brick whispers, like he says something, then he whispers to himself, like, see this Monster Energy drink? I'm gonna do an example. He's like this, I'm gonna drink a Monster Energy drink. Monster Energy drink. That's what Brick does. He says something, then he whispers it to himself. But yeah, I love that TV show. I fucking love that show. That show's awesome. It's one of my favorite shows. I've been watching it since last September or October, one of those times. I believe it was October, early October. That's just a good show. If you haven't watched it, you should watch that show. That show's funny. There's a lot of funny things in that show. I'm not going to mention them all, but yeah. And I actually have, and I've realized I actually have a personality. I'm actually similar to all of them in a way, too. I'm similar to Sue because I get overexcited for stupid stuff. I get overexcited of stuff and kind of clumsy. I'm kind of a clumsy person. Not that clumsy, but not as clumsy as her, but I get overexcited and shit. And I'm kind of a nerd like Sue. I'm similar to Brick because I don't like reading. I'm not like him, like I like to read a lot, but fuck. I think we're on the same page. We're totally on the same page. I'm weird just like him. I I actually kind of whisper to myself too. I mean, I don't like say something then whisper it. I do whisper to myself though. Like, I say something, then I say it again, but I don't like pothole. I don't do that. Well, maybe. I don't know. And Axel, I'm similar to him because I kind of got that attitude. Like, first of all, he likes sports and shit. I like sports too, and he has that attitude. He has a big attitude and shit, and I don't know. I'm kind of like Axel for a lot of other ways. I'm like Mike in a couple ways. I can't really explain it. I'm like Frankie because Frankie has that OCD personality, and I'm kind of that way. Like, I don't know. I'm like all of them. I'm not gonna continue talking about that, but next show, fucking 2.5 Men. That is another fucking good show. I love that show. That show's usually on at 6 o'clock till 6:30. That's on for an hour straight. There's 2 episodes usually during the weekdays. The weekends too, like. That show's awesome. I love that show. It's funny as hell when that one episode where like Alan and his girl were like switching clothes or something for a while. They were like trading clothes and shit. And then the girl leaves him and shit. She gets out of the house and runs away from him. And he leaves Alan wearing a fucking red dress. Alan's walking around wearing a fucking red dress. I'm gonna show you a fucking picture of it. Oh my god, that's so funny when he was walking around in a red dress and shit, like, and everybody's thinking he's weird and shit. Oh my god. And it's funny, like, when Jake, it's funny that one episode, like, he was on the couch and shit, and then, or something, then he blew a big fart, and then Rose, that one character, she came over, and then she's like, oh my god! That's just a funny show. It's just a funny show. There's a lot of things funny about that show. The one part I just cannot stop laughing at is Alan in the red dress, walking around in a red dress and shit. Oh god, that's funny as hell. Another funny show I like, George Lopez. And that show is a funny show, George Lopez. Oh god, I've been watching that show since 2008, and that's a pretty good show. Like, can I remember like one episode of a funny clip? Oh yeah, it was funny that one episode, like, I believe the dog named Mr. Needles or something. Like, the dog named Mr. Needles was sick, and George and Max, they both tried to make a promise. They both prayed to God to make the dog feel better. And George didn't want to pray, but he just prayed to make his kid happy, and he didn't think praying would work, but it ended up do. And George fucking prayed that if Mr. Needles, the dog, gets better, then he'll crawl on his knees to that church in Mexico or something. He didn't think it'd happen, but it ended up happening for some reason. The dog ended up getting better, and so George didn't want to he was shocked. He didn't want to crawl, and then it's funny when he looked up in the sky and he was like, what are you doing up there? Or something to God or shit. And then it's funny in that same episode, like, he says to Max, like, hey, that one funny part, when Mr. Needles had that tumor, but it was funny when, George told Max, like, Max is begging him, when is he gonna go to Mexico, and George is like, God came to me in a vision last night. Turns out I don't gotta go no more. Turns out it was all a mistake. Turned out he was trying to Save a dog in China named Mr. Noodles. Oh god, that part got me cracking up so hard. I actually got it here. I'm gonna show you. I'll just listen to the clip. Hopefully the computer, you can mute the TV so you could hear, but here's that funny part.
I don't have to go anymore.
Hang on.
Last night in a vision.
This is the part.
You know what? God came to me last night in a vision. I don't have to go anymore.
Yeah? What'd he say?
It was all a big mix-up. It turns out he was trying to save some dog in China, Mr. Noodles.
That part was hilarious. Oh god, I love George Lopez. You know, he's fucking hilarious, and yeah, and I feel bad for George too. It's like his childhood, his mom, big asshole, Benny Lopez, treated him like shit when he was a kid and shit. Like, they were poor. His dad left him when he was a baby and shit, Manny Lopez. And, you know, Benny was just being an asshole to George as a kid. She's still an asshole to George and shit. But, yeah. And Benny's funny, everybody. George and Benny are George, Benny, and Max are like my two favorite characters and shit. Another show that I like, The King of Queens. Yeah, that show's awesome, The King of Queens. That's like another good show that I like. There's Doug and his wife Carrie and shit. I can't really think of some of the funny shit in that show. That's a pretty funny show. I love that show. I actually started watching that show back in 2012. The summer of 2012, like June of 2012. Actually, no, December of 2011 is actually the first time I saw that episode. It's actually a pretty funny show. You should watch that show. Let me think of some funny stuff. I don't know if I'll think about it. Nah, whatever. It's just a funny show. You should watch it. It's pretty funny. I'll talk about a couple more shows. Yeah. Show I like, fucking Full House. You know Full House. Yeah, that show is funny as hell. It's funny that one episode when Stephanie, she's like driving in Joey's car. I believe it's Joey's car. And she tries to drive, so she gets into the car, and then when she drives into the house. She crashes into the fucking house and shit. That part was fucking hilarious. And then another funny episode, I'll talk about a few. Another funny episode was when DJ, she wants to take care of a horse or shit, and so she sneaks a horse into the fucking house and shit, and then Joey and Jesse both know about it, but Danny Tanner, he'll go crazy if he finds out about the horse, so they try to get the horse out of the house. So when Danny Tanner is about to come home, and so while they're trying to get the horse away, they're trying to stall Danny, that like there's a good dinner or something, or a surprise, I don't know. And so they cover his eyes, and they walk past the horse covering his eyes, and then once they get into the kitchen, Danny opens his eyes, and then he sees the horse, and he's like, and then he goes in the kitchen, then walks back out. Oh god, that was funny. And then he ends up yelling at DJ and shit. Now that's just a funny show. There's a lot of funny parts of that show. Fucking Jesse, Danny Tanner, Joey's funny. Who else is there? Becky, DJ, I said DJ, Stephanie, and Michelle. And any other characters, I don't know. But then later on, once they get like later into the seasons, Jesse and Becky end up having a fucking kid. They end up having twins and shit. I don't know the twins' names, but I forgot their names. But they end up having twins. But yeah, I love Full House. That's a pretty funny show. Family Guy is another good show. You know Family Guy? Family Guy, there's a lot of funny things about that show. Family Guy's a hilarious show. Who doesn't like Family Guy? Everybody likes that show. Peter Griffin and Stewie are my, like, two favorite characters in that show. And Peter's, like, the best character in that show. Like, he's fucking hilarious. It's funny that one episode, like, he was like a cop or something, and then Meg and her friends were over and shit, and Peter just ends up dancing to music. He ends up taking his clothes off and ends up dancing naked, and then he puts his ass in Meg's face and shit. Oh god. And it's funny that one episode, like, he's like running and shit, like, and then he falls down, and then he's like, ah. You know? That's fucking funny. That is fucking funny. But, yeah, it's a really good show. I think everybody's seen that show. Who hasn't seen that show? That show's awesome. I'll talk about one more show that I fucking love, and that's Friends. You know Friends. That show's a really good show. That show was like basically made in like the 90s and early 2000s and shit, and that show's fucking funny. Like, I'm gonna tell you this one episode that I fucking love that made me laugh so hard. It's funny, like, the Rangers scored 2-0 New York. It's funny when like, they're in the hospital, like, cause Ross gets hit in the face with a hockey puck, and then when he comes out of the fucking surgery or something, I don't know, he gets that thing on his nose, and then ends up a little kid has the hockey puck, and then yeah, the kid has the puck in his hand and shit, and then Ross is like, let me have my puck, and then the kid's like, finders, keepers, losers, weepers, and then he's like, I don't know what he said, and then they end up fighting over the puck, and then he's like, give me back my puck, and the kid's like, no, and he's like, yeah, and then they end up tugging on it, and then he's like, give me my puck, and then the puck slips out of both of her hands and hits the lady at the counter in the face, like, and then knocks her out. Oh god, that part was funny. I'm gonna try to find that part right now. I hope there's no ads. I'm gonna find that part and have you guys listen to that part. It was, fuck. There's a stupid ad I don't give a fuck for. How many minutes are there?
Can you believe he's only had sex with one woman? I think it's great. You know, it's sweet. It's romantic.
Let me fast forward it.
That's attractive. Oh, come on. The kid has it. The kid. Excuse me. That's my puck.
I found it. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers.
You gotta do it, man.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you... Listen, give me back my puck.
No.
Yes, how about?
No.
No, come here.
No.
Give me,
No.
give me my.
No.
Give
Hey, no run posing in my ER.
me my pop.
That's all the shows I'm gonna talk about. I talked about like how many shows, 5 or 6 shows. I talked about The Middle, George Lopez, 2.5 Men, Family Guy, Friends, and Full House. There's a lot more shows that I like, but I'm not. And The King of Queens, I can't forget that. And yeah, there's more shows that I fucking love, but I'm not gonna make this video too big. So yeah, this is my video. So if you want to comment down what your favorite TV shows are, go ahead. Just don't comment any negative shit, calling me names, a faggot or something, or else I'll fucking block you and shit. Yeah, so don't troll. This is just my video of my favorite TV shows, and yeah, it's my video. So till next time, it's your boy Steve. See you later. Goodbye, and yeah, bye.